Dear Mayor, let's build a bolder Salt Lake. If you can dream big, you can have our vote. Luckily for her, our writer is on vacation. For the next couple of weeks, we will be running some collaborations with various folk in Salt Lake who are writers, dreamers, and elected officials. We hope you enjoy this series of unique and interesting ideas. This piece was written by Paula Longhurst and edited by me, Molly Jones. A few weeks ago, Axios reported that not only is Aaron Mendenhall considering running for a third term as Salt Lake City mayor, but a whole slate of local heavy hitters are eyeing the position themselves. This lineup includes former Utah Democratic Party Chair Peter Caroon, Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson, Salt Lake County Councilman Ross Romero, and Senate Minority Leader Luz Escamilla. Which got us thinking, if all of these political heavyweights are jumping in, now would be a good time to don our most Zohran Mamdani suit and daydream about what Salt Lake City could look like if we were to embrace some bold ideas. With the 2034 Olympics on the horizon and potentially millions of dollars for city projects available, we feel like it's imperative that we dream big. We need a bold vision that lays out a future for Salt Lake City that makes us stand out and makes visitors say, wow. We want a city that works for everyone. And our vote would definitely go to a candidate who can reimagine and deliver on a new vision for affordable housing that would keep our kids from having to move out of state just to get on the property ladder. Let's take a look at the current situation. Pay to play Salt Lake. For the last 6 years, Utah's state lawmakers have consistently handed out income tax cuts. But behind the splashy headlines, those cuts have created a shortfall in funding for public services and social safety nets, with local cities left holding the tax bag. Now, local leaders have no choice but to hike your property taxes, all while rolling out tax breaks and sweet land deals for developers to keep luring in development. Under this model, that housing money runs straight out of Utah, and you end up paying more for your bungalow year over year, while lawmakers high-five each other up on Capitol Hill. In this case, the rising tide isn't raising all boats. Affordable, but not for me. If you live anywhere in the Salt Lake City area, especially near a tracks line, you know how many apartment buildings are going up, and a lot of those are listed as affordable housing. However, there are so many of them coming online at the same time that while renters can reap the benefits, many apartments are sitting empty. In quite a few cases, they are at less than 70% occupancy. And what about those with no means of generating income? Those with no health insurance, victims of domestic violence? In the U.S., over 32,000 veterans are homeless. And while Salt Lake is better than most at offering solutions, Valor House on the VA campus and the Other Side Village, the issue appears to be a disconnect, perhaps a lack of trust, between the unhoused and those providing services to get them back on their feet. Section 8 housing is another option, and here the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City, a nonprofit, owns and manages close to 1,600 units of subsidized housing with another 545 units financed through tax credits. With all of that said, what kinds of big swings are we really talking about here that could truly move the needle in a dreaming big scenario? Thinking outside the apartment. First of all, we could ban private equity firms from buying up new builds. They disrupt our property ladder and give nothing back to the local population. Plus, most people get the ick from private equity, so this would likely be a very popular and PR-friendly move for a new mayor. Real housing diversity means moving past the false choice between single-family mansions and block-sized luxury apartments, and Salt Lake is moving in that direction, albeit slowly. 2 years ago, City Hall passed a series of zoning changes, including height, density, and building more row housing, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. As of 2026, only 2 of those projects have been completed, with 19 more waiting in the pipeline. If the city selected its own group of approved local developers, that process could be streamlined and sped up while still remaining cost-effective. Bring back boarding houses through a new public-private partnership. As we talked about previously, these are currently illegal, but the City Council could easily update the code to make them legal again. What about partnerships the city hasn't considered yet? This one is out of left field, but bear with us. We present union-owned and operated housing in partnership with Salt Lake City. What if our teachers, first responders, and hospital workers had low-cost housing right next to the fire station or the nearby school or hospital they worked at? We shower out-of-state companies with incentives to move here, so why not use those same tools to help essential local workers own a piece of the city that they maintain? And before you think this is too crazy, it's been done before. In 1920s New York, garment workers' unions built and managed cooperative housing for their workers. Abraham E. Kazan was one of the driving forces behind the idea of amalgamated houses, which opened in 1927 in the Bronx and has supported generations of garment workers and their families. The complex of buildings remains open to this day. Has any of this post sparked thoughts on how we can make a better Salt Lake? We'd love to hear from you. Drop your ideas in the comments below and stay tuned for part 2, Community Cooperatives. Thanks for pulling up a stool. Want to grab a glass and join the conversation? Here's how. Love it? Hit that heart button to show you like this post. Join the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's piece. Restock, share this out to your personal feed to help us expand our reach. Or share the warmth. If this resonated, feel free to forward it to a friend. We can also be found on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.